The stage has been set for Colorado's 2023 spring game that's sold out, of course. We're wondering who's going to be the famous people that are going to be in attendance. Rick Ross, a famous rapper, came in town yesterday. Yeah. A lot of former Buffaloes, a lot of former Buffs that haven't been around here recently that are re-energized around the program. So renewed energy around here. Chris Fowler is going to be calling the game on ESPN. You had a chance to talk to Chris Fowler, of course, a proud CU alum. Tell us about that conversation.
Yeah, it was great. He was actually heading up to his place in Breckenridge yesterday when we talked, and he was telling me how unique this is going to be. I'm trying to paraphrase, but he said, looks to me like the wackiest, craziest 2 hours of football he's ever called. And he said, no, I've never seen anything like it. And part of it is that I said, well, why is it going to be so wacky? And he said, well, part of it is that I've never seen a roster so fluid. And he didn't get any of the uniform numbers until yesterday morning, and so he has them. They actually have uniforms, and numbers, but he didn't get any of the numbers. He goes, I really can't memorize them, and so he's going to go off the fly in that regard. He's going to be broadcasting from the field, not a booth, and so he and Robert Griffin III and Quentin Kesnich are going to be on the field, often near prime, and so there's no monitor where they can watch a replay, and they're going to have to go off of all that. And he says it's going to be free-form football, and he actually said to me it's going to be more talk show than game broadcast. So it'll be interesting. We're going to be actually there, and so might have to watch the broadcast later, but I'm curious to see what the broadcast looks like.
If anybody can pull it off, it's Coach Prime. Yeah. But it's really hard to make a spring game entertaining, especially when you have depth issues in certain spots, so you're going to have to limit the number of reps that you do. Yeah. Just going 1s v1s, 2s v2s, or even if you did split up the team somehow, although that would be very challenging to do with their defensive line numbers, it's not going to have most people tuning into ESPN and going, oh my gosh, that was the best 2 hours of TV I've ever seen. So I am anxious to see if they do have some additional tricks up their sleeve to try to take advantage of this national audience that Colorado's program just has not had on a regular basis.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually asked him, is Deion going to be mic'd up? And he didn't know. Fowler didn't know as of Thursday. He goes, I'm hoping so, but they're going to be near him. So I'd imagine there's going to be plenty of times we hear from Deion on the broadcast where they're just standing near him and they put a microphone in his face and say, what do you think of that? But yeah, it's the point is not to really watch this particular product on the field and say, wow, let's judge the Buffs on this. It's really, let's see what does this offense look like? What does Coach Prime look like coaching this team? What a few of these guys look like, Shedeur, Travis Hunter, guys like that. But it'll be an entertaining broadcast. And you mentioned if anybody can pull it off, it's Coach Prime. But I think broadcast-wise, you probably couldn't have anybody better than Chris Fowler, who's that veteran guy that it's going to be unique to him. But if anybody can pull it off, Chris Fowler, Coach Prime, that's probably a good combination to pull this thing off.
You mentioned that it's a glimpse into this new program, the new offense. Sean Lewis used the word vanilla quite a few times when talking to us. Yeah. No surprise. We once had Mike Sanford tell us that he just poured over footage from CU spring game before he joined Colorado staff. I don't know. I would imagine, though, as Coach Lewis kind of alluded to, what he's put on tape at Kent State is probably going to be evaluated more by other schools than maybe what they do tomorrow.
Right. I think more so what opposing TCU and Nebraska, CSU, teams like that might look at is what does Shedeur Sanders look like in this offense? What does Deion Smith look like? Dylan Edwards, guys like that. What do they look like in this offense? And so you want to see how that personnel looks. But again, now those guys will probably be here, but like some of this personnel is not going to be here anyway, and so I don't know how much opposing coaches can get out of this footage, but fans just enjoy it and have fun, and let's just see what it looks like.
I think at top of my wish list for Colorado fans out there is Dylan Edwards. I want to see a big play out of him. We've seen some of those in the behind-the-scenes footage. Another guy I'm really looking forward to tomorrow is Levonta Bentley, somebody that earned their number, a guy that transferred in from Clemson and has seemingly really risen to the challenge here. And I want to see how he plugs those holes tomorrow because I think he's going to be quite a player in this team. What about you? Are there any guys that you're kind of looking forward to?
Yeah, Bentley is a guy that I think could be one of the most impactful transfers that they have, and so I'm excited about him. Cameron Silman Craig is a guy that we've heard a lot about. He's a smaller safety, but he's a big hitter. I'm anxious to see some big hits, and see what he does out there. I want to see this is an obvious one, but Travis Hunter, is he going to play offense and defense, and what does he look like on both sides of the ball there? And Jimmy Horn is another one. Like, does he play? He's obviously been nursing an injury. Does he play? Trevor Woods. There's a couple returning guys like that I want to see. How have they adapted in this defense? Do they look different? And so, and the defensive linemen as well. I mean, there's some new defensive linemen that we want to see that, can they stop the run? So I think there's a lot of different aspects to watch. And, coaches like to say we got to review the tape. I think you and I might have to review the tape to catch some of the aspects we don't get to see live.
Yeah.
But, I think I don't often go back and watch a spring game very often, maybe once, but I might have to watch this one 2 or 3 times to kind of pick out certain guys that I want to watch.
Yeah. Pass rush would be another thing to look for coming off last year's season, although Shedeur Sanders is I can already see him contesting some of the sacks that are coming his way tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He was saying that the other day, that he's already had some arguments with guys. He goes, I'm going to have to pull some tape of me escaping sacks to show them that that's not a sack. But that is another thing that, we need to see, some of those new pass rushers, can they get to the quarterback? And whether they call it a sack or not, are they there? Are they on Shedeur as he's throwing the ball or before he throws the ball? That's what we want to see, because we just haven't seen it very often. Carson Wells was pretty good at getting in the backfield, but not a ton of sacks. We haven't seen a big sack guy since Jimmy Gilbert back in 2016, and the Buffs need to see that.
All right. Well, hopefully the spring game lives up to the hype, because it has a totally different energy and feeling around here the day before the spring game than any other time that we've covered this program. So
we're talking about production meetings the day before a spring game. I mean, come on. Yeah. When does that ever happen?
So I'm going to be there bright and early. Looking forward to being there. I'm going to try to beat the crowd. What about you?
Yes, I'm going to try to beat the crowd as well. And I've never had to do that for a spring game. We've I don't know about you, but it's always been treated like a regular practice. Like, just practice. We're probably going to get more guys because it's the final one. But it's going to be like game day tomorrow.
Everything's different now here in Boulder, Colorado. We'll be back after tomorrow's spring game for more analysis.